What's going on, guys? I'm here to talk about a very big issue in the competitive Pokemon community right now. And honestly, I want to start first and foremost by saying I'm not trying to push any opinion on anyone, kind of, other than like just treating people better. But to explain briefly kind of what's going on, Terastilization is a new mechanic in the new generation that just came out, Scarlet and Violet. And what that is at the beginning of any turn, you could basically change the type of your current active Pokemon. If you make it one of the types it already is, it will lose its other type and do 2 times damage with that type instead of the normal 1.5 that you get for stab. And if you switch to a different type, then you basically gain stab with that type and you lose your 2 original types, right? So like a very common example is you have Dragonite, right? It's dragon flying, and well, they usually send out something to deal with you, and usually it's like ice type because ice is 4 times effective. And on the turn you think they're going to use an ice move, you Terra Normal so that you don't take 4 times damage, and from there you kind of snowball the game. And that gives you kind of an idea. Not like, again, it's just an example. Dragonite's not insane or anything. So really, there's two different things that come with Terra that people kind of maybe have a problem with. So you have same type Terra. A good example of that is like Shiyu and Dragapult, right? So they're not going to Terra to a different type. They're not trying to outplay you. They're just going to Terra to their already existing type, and they're just trying to one-shot you. So these guys will just Terra to their main type, and they'll just hit you with a really hard stab move, hoping to knock you out. And all that serves to do is just, these Pokemon hit so hard. It's insane, right? Then you have the different type Terra that I kind of talked about already with like Dragonite, where like you're basically setting up, Spotter's another good one that is going to change its type while it's setting up. And honestly, I feel like, I might be wrong here, but the different types kind of Terastilization is kind of maybe the more controversial one because that creates more of a guessing game. Just because, I guess if you think about that situation, let's say you're against the Dragonite and you expect them to Terra Fire or Terra Normal. Do you use the Ice move still? And how do you know if they're Terra Fire or Terra Normal? So should I Earthquake? Should I, Ice Shard? Should I Close Combat? Obviously, there's not many Pokemon that have all 3 of those moves, but the basic point is it's kind of a difficult guessing game. You can imply things, but you will never know for sure, as the game currently stands, what to do. And even if we do have, like, even if you know what Terra type it is, they might not Terra, and it comes down to a guessing game. Not to say that doesn't ever exist in competitive Pokemon, because it definitely does. But 50-50 coin flips can kind of be rough. I don't think you want a lot of 50-50 coin flips in a game. I think that's a little obnoxious. One or two, maybe, but not a lot. Rather to say Terra adds that or not is totally up for debate, and that's kind of why this is so controversial. Because the argument is that Terra makes the game less competitive, right? Like, on a game-by-game basis, because you have these 50-50 coin flips, it makes it so that good players are more often losing to RNG than it is to losing to a better player, I guess. And to be clear, I'm not claiming to be like pro or anything. I'm just observing what people are saying here. And the idea is this is competitive Pokemon, right? So we're trying to make this fun, but also as fair as possible, right? Like, if you're better than your opponent, you should always win, in theory. And it's Pokemon, so you're going to get paralyzed sometimes on a Thunderbolt, or you're going to get crit, or something weird's going to happen. But the idea is that we get it as competitive as possible. So there's a lot of different choices that people are talking about right now. Some people say ban the same type Terra. That one I don't understand at all. I guess these guys are good. I don't agree with it. I don't really think that's the problem at all, is these guys tearing. I mean, it makes them very strong. Obviously, like, they're S- rank, right, on this viability ranking, so clearly it's not a bad strategy. I just don't think that's really the problem. Banning the other type Terra, that one makes a little bit more sense to me. because this Dragonite situation is kind of obnoxious, you know? Same as like a Nihilip becoming water type, or what's another good one? There are other ones. Volcarona becoming grass is another example. Obviously, these are lower on the viability rankings, ironically, but I do think that these are the more frustrating situations that are maybe causing people to think they should be banned. Another option that's come up is to show your opponent all the Terra types. I think that one's really interesting, and I think that is actually not a bad first step. I think it's a pretty safe option that they could remove at any time if we just saw all the Terra types for a team at the beginning. I actually heard something along the lines of in VGC, you are showing your opponent your Terra types now. I don't know how that works exactly. I could be wrong about that, but I think it's really interesting. I think that one is like the least offensive choice, to be honest, like the most middle ground. The other choice, and I don't really know if I like this one, is only having one Mon that can Terra on a team. So you can only Terra once in a game, to be clear. I might not have made that completely clear at the beginning. So this thing would basically say, let's say my team is Shiyu, Dragapult, and Great Tusk, right? I can only pick one of these guys to Dragapult from the entire game. And that's lame, right? And that just kind of makes it. I don't see that one at all. That one seems like the worst one to me, because then you're just giving your Dragapult like mega specs or whatever, and it's cool, I guess. It's not very exciting. It doesn't add a lot of variance to games. I just don't think that's the play. And then finally, the last choice is banning Terra. For that one, it's rough. So, banning Terra might be the play. I don't really know. I think Terra is really fun. I think it's really cool. I think it opens up a lot of potential for the game. However, it is a problem, and we've already seen with Nat decks, you have Terra Shedinja, and that was a huge issue. If Shedinja Terra types, his ability is so broken. Shedinja's ability basically says that only moves that super effective damage it, right? So you can switch to, let's say, Electric or Fairy, something that doesn't have very common weaknesses, and it's super hard to deal with it, among other things. It's just kind of ridiculous. There's no world in which we want to play games where there's like a Shedinja in every team. That is not good Pokemon, I'm sorry. Anyway, so those are our choices of how to deal with Terra. Again, I don't really claim to know best. I want to say, if I had to choose, I think we should start with showing the Terra types of the teams and see where that goes. If it still feels uncompetitive, I think we could ban the other, like non-stab Terra types. But honestly, it's all a little bit weird. I totally understand why people are frustrated and why this is controversial, because it's a fun mechanic, and some of us don't want to see it go, and that's totally fair. And it kind of sucks in a way. I think the generational mechanics have been very hit and miss. For example, like I think Megas were good, broken obviously, but good. Z moves were good, broken obviously. Actually, I'm sorry. Z moves were good, but I don't think they were exciting. I don't think anyone was excited to use things like Bloom Doom. It's kind of funny when you one-shot something with a move they don't expect, but I kind of thought Z moves were a little lame personally as a generational gimmick. Dynamax was broken as all hell. I think Dynamax was stupid. I think that was terrible, and there was just nothing good about it, personally. Not everyone would agree with me there. I think Terastilization is a lot better thought out than Dynamax. However, it has problems. But at the end of the day, what it really comes down to, for me, and like what I think the big, important message is none of us know exactly what's right, you know? But the discussions I've seen on the internet have just devolved along the way. I think when we're arguing, well, it shouldn't be arguing, it should be debating, right? But when we're talking about an issue like this, like we shouldn't be baby raging, talking about quitting the game if we don't get our way. It's so annoying, right? Like, if you don't like the game, like at its core, then maybe you shouldn't be talking about it anyway. Like, it bothers me that people say I'm gonna quit the game if they ban Terra. It just is what it is, you know? And then likewise, I don't think we should alienate these people either. You know, I think the problem, there's a lot of people who are like, we should ban Terra, and if you disagree, you're bad. You're garbage. And you're not smart enough to understand. There's a lot, I don't want to say a lot of elitism, it's a little bit of elitism, but this is kind of like the reason why they feel that validated, right? And no matter what game you're talking about, we need to welcome new players. Like, new players are so important to any community. We need people going in and out. We can't have people thinking, oh my god, competitive Pokemon's so sweaty. I don't want to play that. I don't want to, you know, get stuck playing with these people. So, I don't know. I think there's a lot going wrong there. I think if we stopped and considered respecting other people on the internet, that'd go a long way. I know that's kind of a foreign concept nowadays, but it would help. Another thing I'd like to bring up is, you know, it's funny too, because in the last few years I feel like this has gone down a lot, but there's a lot of Smogon hate in this situation. I don't think Smogon has it easy. I don't think they have a wonderful decision here. I don't think banning Terastilization is like this evil thing they want to get done. I think it's something they need to figure out because it affects their community a lot. And they're trying to make the best choice, and they're trying to vet this. They're not trying to let a bunch of people who've never played on Showdown or have never played the game vote. And this is why you have to qualify in the suspect test and whatnot. And people are real mad. They have to be good at the game to vote. Which I understand, but disagree with that sentiment. I think good players probably have a heavier opinion than not good players. And I don't claim to be a good player at all, actually. I don't necessarily think my opinion should be counted in terms of vote because I come and go from Pokemon a lot. I really like the game, but I don't play it all year round. And so people are playing in tournaments all the time, and honestly, they have a much better idea of what makes the game fun because they're always here. At least that's my interpretation. I also think it's rough for Smogon that Nintendo is completely hands-off with this game. As they are with everything, right? It's the same with, like with Smash, you know? It like offends Nintendo when you play Smash without items on. Like they're gonna like drone strike you eventually once they get that power when you do that stuff, you know? Or like, oh, you're nuzlocking our Pokemon game, you're disgusting. You're the problem. Nintendo makes no sense. They're so bad at all of that, and it's really unfortunate. So again, Smogon doesn't develop the game, can't make these decisions, can't just buff or nerf or change the game, right? They have to make the rules. They have to decide, is this banned or not? And they have a really hard decision on their hands. And again, I think it's just really toxic to go down to, if they pick something I don't like, I'm quitting. I don't understand that thought process. I don't understand why people are acting like that. I think it's toxic internet culture, but it's real gross. I think that should just generally not be a paradigm that people have. It's like, if I don't get my way, I'm just quitting the game. It's so lame. From my perspective, I mean, I played in Sword and Shield. I really didn't like Dynamax. I stuck it out for a little bit. Honestly, if they didn't ban Dynamax, it would have been rough, but Dynamax was a little different. It was like really gross. And that Dynamax, I don't think it compares to Terastilization at all. But I think Pokemon's a fun game. I think either way, if they ban Terra, if they don't, if they do nothing, if they do something, I think we should just keep playing the game because I think it's a solid game. It's fun, it's competitive, and one way or another, it's going to be enjoyable. And I think this like doomer mentality on the internet is kind of annoying. And also, I think we should just accept Smogon's decision because at the end of the day, do we really know better than a bunch of pro players? Do we really know better than the people who, you know, are top of the ladder? And again, who's to say who should make this decision? It should come down to Nintendo. The developers should be, you know, balancing this, but we don't have that benefit, right? I mean, the same way, you know, Nintendo doesn't care about Smash tournaments. Nintendo doesn't care about all these different things. They never support their communities. You know, we have to figure it out, and so we need to not act like wild animals. And, you know, blaming people on the internet. Oh, you can't beat normal Terra type Dragonite, you're garbage. Or you're not high ladder. You know, you don't have an opinion. You know, maybe. Either way, I just want to talk about this a little bit. I don't know if I have like a huge voice, but I'm hoping that I can convince some people maybe to tone it back a little bit and treat other people with respect. I think it's important, again, not to alienate people with different opinions than you, because we need more players. We want diverse opinions. You know, it's just it's important not to be a shitter on the internet, basically. Either way, I'm gonna wrap this video up right now. So, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. If you have an opinion on this matter at all, I'd love to hear it in the comments. Try to keep it civil. But either way, I'm gonna head out, and y'all take care.